Let's rock. Let's get right into it. Why the hell not? All right, guys. Some fun stuff. What I'm thinking this morning as some of the early national content starts to roll in. It's been a few days since I chatted with you guys. Try to give you a couple episodes every week. Obviously, the last week's episodes generated some buzz, generated some talk, some thought-provoking stuff. Lots of content. The Breakers Delight. We're going to leave that in rearview mirror because this is National Week, right? Notice I said National Week. National sports, not nationals. I know sports. It's an S is the second word, but don't blur them together. National, not nationals. Anyway, some people take that stuff really, really, really to heart. Like, oh, it's all right. So let's jump into it. You may be watching some of the content, some of the early content coming out of Cleveland. Everything from people driving there and stopping at restaurants along the way to Guardians games, to, man, I wish I was at that Guardians game last night with my son. He is a huge Two-Turn Tony fan. The guy walks around with a duck, and Two-Turn Tony threw out the first pitch. That would have made the National. That would have been, I could have gone home after that if my son got to meet Two-Turn Tony. That would have been hilarious. Anyway, I digress. You're going to see the setup stuff. And you may start to feel like if you're not one of the people who's going, you may start to feel a little bit of a little FOMO, right? A little bit of, a little bit of regret for not going, a little bit of sadness even for feeling like you're missing out on something, right? And I'm here to tell you in the first 2 minutes, you can count me among the ranks. I've talked ad nauseum about going to the National, not going to the National. It wasn't something that I could schedule this year. We are a dual worker household here, and we got two people who work. We got kids in camp. Kids got to get driven to stuff, and people have to be around, and it just wasn't something I'd be able to do for a long enough time. I was flirting with the idea of flying in and flying out, just doing one day or one overnight. As I record this Wednesday morning, the day that the National starts tonight from 4 to 8. I currently have no plan to go. It would take some sort of a crazy shift for me to make it out there. And this episode is for the people who are there, who are looking for some fun content. Maybe you're on your way there. Maybe you're on your plane, you're in your car, you're driving, and you're like, hey, let me find some content to listen to. I would say, you'll probably have some fun with this because I'm going to make it interesting, but it's also for the folks who are out there who are sitting at home and decided not to make the trip. Let's kind of, let's try to figure out a way where, you don't have that FOMO. You don't feel bad because the hobby's not supposed to make you feel bad, right? You're supposed to be here, kind of escaping the other stuff in your life, like politics, that makes you feel bad, like your job and whatever other stress is in you. This is supposed to take stress out of your life, not add stress to it. So a couple of fun things. Number one, an ask to the people who are there. Be mindful that your content that you're making is not just to try to, grab a sponsor going forward. It's not just to, to do that, but try to be mindful of people who are home. Every once in a while, even though it might not get the most views, go live from the show floor if you can. I mean, I try to do this every now and again when I'm at a show. It's usually not the most watched content, but it is some of the more appreciated content from the people who are home. They like just the walk around, the seeing the sights, and it's as close to being there as someone's able to get. I know people who are huge Disney fans, and they watch when they're not in Disney, that once a year when they're there, they watch people walk around live stream from, and you kind of get as close to the feeling that you're there as you possibly can. So to the content creators who may be listening to this, who are there, if you can, do some lives for folks, that would be fantastic. I mean, that would be great. So yeah, that's a fun one, right? That's a fun little start for the folks who are home, right? And we're going to have a whole bunch of suggestions, but for the folks who are home, maybe now is a time where you saved a little bit of money. You didn't go to national. You saved some time. You weren't able to be there. Maybe what you can do, and it's what I'm going to do, is maybe take some of the money you saved by not going, whether it's a gas money, ticket money, airfare, hotel money, all that stuff, and pick up a card for yourself. Add something to your PC, because I find that nothing cures a hobby hole like a good card, right? So if you're feeling like you're missing out, fill that void with a cardboard picture of a man, as the sports card radio guys like to say. Find a card. It doesn't have to be something crazy. You don't have to go out and spend all that money that you just saved by not traveling. But find something that speaks to you, and pick that up. It's a nice little way to to do it. It's a nice little way to kind of feel like you're still participating in the hobby. You're involved. You're doing all that fun stuff. You name it. So that would be my one thing I know I will be doing, and I'm kind of trying to share with you guys. Okay. So some fun stuff. Let's have some fun with this, and I'll keep it short, right? I would say keep an eye on the people who are making content at the National, because the prediction I'm going to make for you is that you're going to see content from some people come out of the National who will not be at the National next year and will not be making content when the National comes around next year. So there's always that shooting star that burns out, that is no longer part of the hobby. It's most likely because they're making the content for probably the wrong reason. They're going to the National, trying to, find somebody to pay them to make content, et cetera, et cetera. But it happens every year. I'm not picking on anybody specifically here. My own podcast is a good example of this, right? I mean, we can kind of go through a bunch of podcasts. Lucas Tigers. I carry on the spirit, but it's it is no longer. There was this fun podcast called Card Talk that is no longer around, and I could probably name 50 others, people who were hosts of big events, not here. And so I guess the flip side to that is, if you're sitting at home saying, wow, I make just as good a content, if not better, than the folks who are making content at the National, who are ambassadors at the National and all that fun stuff. Well, I'll speak to you for a second. Keep grinding. Keep doing what you're doing. There'll be openings next year. It's just the way it works. It's just the way it works. To the folks making the content, in addition to trying to go live every now and again, put yourself in the shoes of the people who are going to be watching what you're making. Try that if you can. All right? Try that. And, you're at the National, they're not, because they're watching your content. Show them what it's all about. Right? Instead of the coin flips, show them some of the stuff that's in the museum section. Take some time and show the Honus Wagner and some of the other cards that are on display. Hey, I got a little hint for you. Go stop over at Rick Probstein's table. It's a museum in and of itself. Dude's got millions of dollars worth of cards on his table right now. That's a fun thing. And I'll tell you, listen, here's a piece of content suggestion, and then we're going to take it a different way, right? One of the things I would like to do, and I've never done, it's stuff that I saw yesterday and today. At some point in my career, at some point in my hobby journey, I would love to go to the National on behalf of a hobby company. Whether it's an auction house or whatever it is. I mean, there's a million different ways of doing it. And be there early enough to watch the setup. So I'm lucky enough to know people who have been out in Cleveland as part of this show since last week. and they FaceTime me and they show me the setup and they show me the space completely empty. And then they show me the space starting to get filled and people starting to pack it out. And I've seen what the trade night space looks like as it's being built out. And I get sort of that behind the scenes. I've never been there for it. That to me is cool. It's the kind of stuff that you don't see. It's the kind of cool stuff that, I would love to see some content on to a certain extent, right? I mean, the people who are putting the show on probably don't want you to see what it's like half done, just like a bride doesn't want to show you what she looks like without her wedding dress on, right? You just want to see it all done up, the hair done, the whole deal. But after the fact, it's cool to see the process, right? The buying, the dress, the picking it out, the whole 9 yards. It's the same thing for this, right? The process is cool, right? And I would like to, peel the layer back on that. It's just one of those, like, you have kind of like a checklist of things you'd want to do in your life. Like, that's cool. Building out the national, seeing all the stuff that goes into this, almost kind of thanking all the people that kind of, that build this show. There's going to be so many people there, so many cards, so many deals going on, so many smiles, so many new people entering the hobby. And sometimes you take for granted kind of what goes in behind the scenes. I would love at some point in my life to, to be able to be there early enough for that. And I love that there are people there kind of putting on content, not about the, hey, here's my VIP pass and, let me go and do another video of this, hotel, that's so packed and the whole deal. We get it. When you're home, keep in mind one thing. The content you're going to watch is going to be generated to make you feel like you are missing out. That's done on purpose because think about who's making it. The people you're going to be watching are the people who are there to make money. You're going to be seeing people who have to show it as something good. They probably got a free media pass, which is fine, right? I mean, the National's smart to do that. You got to get the message out. You got to make sure that it looks like the greatest event. And it is fun. It is a lot of fun. But chances are you're probably not going to hear too many people going live to show you anything bad. And I hope there is nothing bad going on at the National. But the point is that you're going to feel, if you start watching this stuff, like you're missing out. It's just the way that it is. And count me again as one of the ranks, because I mean, I was looking this morning at airfare. I was like, oh, maybe I could sneak in and go and walk the floor, because it is just that cool. It is just one of those things where, there's the National and then there's everything else. And yeah, I'm going to be hitting Fan Fest, Fanatics Fan Fest in a couple of weeks. I know that with all the glitz and the glamour and the athletes and the whole deal, the card section, which is the part that I care about, is going to pale in comparison to what's going on at the National. I mean, that, look, you probably tell I'm missing out right now. You could probably tell from just the way that I'm talking about it. I talk about it with, a little bit of romanticism, right? That I'm missing out on it. So to the folks who are there, enjoy your time. Right? I'm not going to give you advice about baby powder and comfortable shoes and phone chargers and all that silliness. You've heard it all already, and you're there, so you've already made your plans. You've already stuck air tags on your head, and you've got your cases, and you know what you're doing. If you're there, have fun. If you're there, enjoy yourself. Be careful. Be safe. Have fun. Know that there are people out there, whether you're a content creator or not. Whatever you're posting on your story, people are watching. I'm watching. I spent an hour on my phone already before doing this episode, just checking out where people are eating, what people are doing, you name it, right? Be mindful of that. I mean, show some stuff, show some cards off. You have this cool opportunity to kind of grow your community, grow your follower base, if that's something you're interested in, and or really help out the folks who weren't able to make it for one reason or another. I'm sure that, the vast majority of the people who are sitting at home want to go or unable to for fiscal or other reasons. And you guys are kind of the conduit, right? You guys are kind of their way of being there without being there. And I mean, so if you're listening to this and you're somebody who's there and you have a phone, you are the content creator for a moment. You are the portal. You're the gateway. And you can do a better job of showing what the national would be like for someone like random average Joe who's watching or listening or sitting at home instead of the forced stuff that you're going to see from everybody else. Right? You don't need the coin flips. We don't need the forced stuff from the people who I'm. If you think I'm talking about you, you're right. I'm talking about you. I would love to see everybody else, even if it's not your thing. Go live, take a picture of the cards you bought, take a picture of something cool you see on a table and post it to your story. If you want to, tag me. Because here's what I'm going to do, and then I'll wrap it up, all right? And share this with whoever it is you want to share it with. If you're at the National, even if you're not a content creator, even if you just take a picture of something you think is cool at the National. You want to take a little video? Great. Put it on your story, tag me, I'll share it. All right? That's what I'm going to be doing when I'm not at the National, because there are other people who are home who didn't make it to the National for whatever reason, and you're going to be able to bring them there with your post. You're going to be able to bring them there with what you're sharing. Show them something cool. Show them a bat you found, a card you found, a piece of memorabilia, a picture of you with the Honus Wagner card. Share that. I'll share it. And we can all be at the National, even the folks who aren't able to make it. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll try to do another episode tomorrow. Take care. Have fun. Whether you're there or not, have fun. Take care, everybody.